Hey everybody, this is Dr. Dane Donahue, and I'm sitting here with my personal assistant slash 8WW superstar implementation specialist, Laura Soldano, and this is a for your information session on 8 Weeks to Wellness. So this is probably because you inquired about what 8 Weeks to Wellness is and how it could benefit your practice. So we want to spend the next 30 to 45 minutes with you going over exactly how we do that. So let's jump right into this. I want to start off with somebody that I really admire. You may recognize this guy. His name is Marcus Lemonis, and he's part of a show on CNBC. If you haven't watched it, you really, if you're a business owner or care anything about increasing your profits, your business at all, being able to manage your staff better, just understanding business in general, as this guy is your man. So the show is called The Profits on CNBC, and Marcus talks about three things that I think are critical in a business, and certainly with this type of a business. He talks about products, process, and people. And I think it's great, Laura, because we really, in the 8 Weeks to Wellness model, all three of those things have to be buttoned up. And it's something that we do on a regular basis. So the product of 8 Weeks to Wellness, I don't think there's anything out there that's like it, that gets the reproducible results that we get with our patients. It's just absolutely phenomenal. The process, though, is really important. And so I think the key with this is, I know there's a lot of doctors, because I talk to them all the time, who want a wellness center, who want to have something that's in their practice that's more tangible rather than just handing out nutrition sheets and exercise sheets that really will make a difference in the lives of their patients. So being able to necessarily recreate a wheel that's already been created, I don't think it's a great idea. We've made a lot of mistakes for you over the last 12 years. And now we have over 80 centers that has helped us over the last 5 years really mold this into something that's clinically successful and something that's financially successful. So I think the biggest problem that people have moving towards a wellness type of a practice is the process. And then finally, obviously, the people, and that's your staff. Recognizing this model, guys, you're going to need staff, people that really jive with this mission, that want to be a part of this mission, that want to help people. So we'll go through that a little bit more in detail, but I think that you guys will really bond with this statement. It's one of my favorite. It's by a guy named Dr. John Kelly of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and he says that symptomatically treating disease without assessing a patient's lifestyle or offering guidance on how to change is irresponsible, and it borders on neglect. And I think he's absolutely right. We all, you could replace the word disease with subluxation in chiropractic, because we're all treating subluxation. We're also trying to help people not suffer. That's why they come to us, Laura. They don't come to us for subluxation correction. They come to us because they're suffering. And again, when you add the lifestyle modification to your adjustment, you are going to see far better results. And again, people don't want to be neglected, and they certainly don't want to be irresponsible, but they need a point. They need some sort of a path, a scripted path to get from point A, where they are, to point B, because like I always say, common sense isn't so common, and it certainly isn't common practice.
Agreed.
All right. So our two USPs that we use in our office, and if you haven't heard of the term USP, is developed by a guy named Rosser Reeves, and it stands for Unique Selling Proposition. And so it's what makes you different. Why would somebody come to you instead of the chiropractor down the street? And two USPs that we use in our practice is the wellness score and, of course, 8 Weeks to Wellness. And the way I see it, Laura, is the wellness score really helps us to identify where the people's healthcare challenges are, where they're what I like to call ticking time bombs are, like metabolic syndrome and hypertension and high cholesterol and these things that people want help with. And then once you identify the problem, then you have to offer a solution. And so we identify the problem with the wellness score, a huge part of this model. And then we offer a scripted solution with 8 Weeks to Wellness. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what 8 Weeks to Wellness is. 8 Weeks to Wellness is a scripted modification program. So there's three things people need. They need a clear direction, they need to be motivated, right? And they need a supportive environment. And we give them all three with this program. We literally give them the motivation with the wellness score. We give them the scripted program with the supportive environment. And then, obviously with 8 Weeks to Wellness, there are touch points along the way. And the fact that they're doing this in your office is huge, because you get to hold them personally responsible and accountable through the program, because they're scheduling in your office. And we have a lot of accountability built in, like with the manual and the 8WW site with the resources on it. But basically the program includes initial orientation, and we drive all of our new patients to the orientation to learn about 8 Weeks to Wellness, because we want them to learn how lifestyle modification, no matter what they're doing, is going to benefit their care. because we know that if somebody's eating better, if they're moving better, if they're thinking, if they're managing their stress, they're going to get better results with their chiropractic care, right? And so we want to get them to the orientation. We do a pretty in-depth workup, guys, with the wellness score. We do body composition, where we test not only their BMI, but their body composition, body fat versus muscle, their hydration. We also, in 8 Weeks to Wellness, do a complete blood work with just, a lot of chiropractors are afraid of blood work, Laura, but it's really simple. We make it green, yellow, red, so they can understand if their triglycerides or the blood sugar or their A1C is out of balance.
By the way, we help you with all that. We help you how to understanding blood work. We understand a lot of chiropractors have never even dealt with this before. So we're going to help you. We're going to hold your hand through this and show you how to look at blood work, how to assess it, and how to speak to your patients about it.
And then also the functional movement screen that we do, because obviously we're recommending functional training, and it's a part of 8 Weeks to Wellness, a big part of 8 Weeks to Wellness, and then just your general biomarkers. We also have a very specific personal training model and functional fitness model with 8 Weeks to Wellness. We look at cardiovascular fitness, we look at mobility, and we also look at strength, and we're going to improve all of those on 8 Weeks to Wellness. So I always like to say, 8 Weeks to Wellness is not a weight loss program, Laura. It's a body composition program. We're going to change people's body composition. Our nutrition, guys, is all scripted out. We give people recipes. We give macronutrient choices. I like to say that our nutrition program, Laura, is a paleo-Terranean. It's the best of the paleo diet and the best of the Mediterranean diet combined into our program. They also get one massage per week, one hour massage. I always like to say that's their reward for doing well in the fitness center. They're getting a minimum of 2 chiropractic adjustments a week. We have meditation resources that we specifically created for 8 Weeks to Wellness. So we have a bunch of meditation tracks that they're going to download and listen to 10 minutes a day. That's the required meditation. And then all of this is done in 5 or 6 hours of their time. So again, guys, everybody knows what to do. What they don't have is that clear path and that script to be able to do it successfully. Okay. And again, we like to use this slide in a lot of our talks. We're trying to get them to eat better, move better, think better. And what I find is when people eat better, move better, and think better, they sleep great. Okay, this is the wellness score that we use in our office. I like to call it show and tell, guys. We all remember show and tell from kindergarten. And I always like to say, Laura, remember show and tell. If you went into your classroom and let's say show and tell you were bringing in your bunny rabbit, but you didn't bring the bunny rabbit. You just were going to tell people about the bunny rabbit, right? And how effective would that be if you didn't have the bunny rabbit there? Because people like to see things. They don't like just to hear about them. So the wellness score is something critical. As you can see here, guys, it gives people a grade. I think that's huge.
Right.
When you say to somebody, Laura, your wellness score is a 43 out of 100, they know what that means. And then when you can show them where the red areas are, the yellow and the green areas, it really makes their physiology come alive. And absolutely. I always like to say physiology doesn't lie.
What's great about it, obviously, every parameter, and by the way, you can choose the parameters that you want to measure. It shows them what theirs is, and then it shows what the average or what they should be. So right. That's the beauty of this.
Yeah,
you're not just saying, this you should have this. It's right there, right in front of them, black and white.
It's really, really powerful tool, guys. We do 2 wellness scores in our office. We do one with labs and we do one without labs. This is the one with labs. And again, guys, Laura mentioned this, but we're going to teach about this. But C-reactive protein is a measure of inflammation. Hemoglobin A1C is a diabetic marker. Fasting insulin is going to show you how much they're cracking out to get their blood sugar normal. So we're going to teach you all about the blood work, but we basically look at 3 things: dysglycemia, sugar problems; inflammatory issues, which a lot of people are inflamed; and then finally lipid problems, triglycerides, cholesterol, good versus bad. It's really cool, guys. And I'll have to say too, Laura, we get a lot of referrals and we have a lot of patients that are cardiologists and endocrinologists because they understand the language of labs. They don't understand subluxation, but when you can show them that you've reduced somebody's cholesterol 50 points and they were a diabetic with an A1C of 6.5 and now they're 5.8, they understand what that means. Okay, so I just want to show you guys a wellness score here. We see the results in our clinic all the time. This was Ken that came in. He had what I like to call the big 3. He had high diastolic blood pressure, obviously over 85 or 90 is hypertensive. He had a BMI in the obese category, and he had a lot of belly fat. His waist measurement was 46.5 inches. And so when he finished the program, he went from a 51 to a 75. But if you look at his numbers in 8 weeks, he went from obese to overweight. Right, he moved in the right direction. His blood pressure came down. His waist came down 5 inches. Right, his LDLs came down. His insulin came down. His triglycerides. All of this, his vitamin D went up because we noticed when we did his labs, his vitamin D was incredibly low. But more importantly, Laura, that's his picture. And I think again, a picture tells 1,000 words. But I always like to say, who's going to live longer, the guy on the left or the guy on the right?
Yeah, who looks younger?
Who looks younger?
Yeah.
And the funny part is the guy on the right, Laura, is 8 weeks older.
Yeah.
You know, but biologically, he's much, much younger and
Yeah,
going to live a long life. More importantly, that's him today.
Right.
Okay, this was him after 8 weeks, Ken. This is Ken about a month ago. He participated
and here's the beauty of the program. We get this question a lot. You know, what happens after 8 weeks to wellness? Well, the fact of the matter is the results that they get that first 8 weeks, they do not want to leave you. And they continue on with your care. And we're going to show you, Dr. Dane's going to show you how you're going to do your care plans and how you're going to keep these patients sticky, if you will, and stick with you and continue and look like a Ken.
And it's a really good point, Laura, because I'm a third generation chiropractor, and what I can tell you, being around a lot of chiropractors my whole life, the busiest ones always got great results with their patients.
No doubt.
You know, and why would people want to leave you when you're getting great results with them?
And tell all your friends about it.
Yeah. And so you get to help people not only with their known healthcare challenges, their back pain, their headaches, but you get to now open up new unknown problems that these people are suffering with that they didn't know that you as a chiropractor could help them with.
And this man owns a karate studio, and how many people do you think look at him every day and have seen this transformation and want to know how they found out, how he had it done? Yeah.
This is Debbie. I always like to show Debbie's picture because Debbie came in from a dinner with a doc that we did, and she was brought by one of her coworkers who did fantastic on the program. And now Debbie is about 1 year post AWW. She's off of 5 medications. She's a happier person. I mean, you just look at her picture. Obviously, she looks better and feels better. But people like this aren't going to leave you. You know, they're just not going to leave you, and they're going to refer a ton of people. There's Paul. I always like to say, if you want to know what metabolic syndrome looks like, there it is. All right. And that's Paul after 8 weeks. And also look at his posture, guys. Look at his alignment in his spine. Right. Yeah. And so, again, we always just tell people they should know their numbers. You know, this isn't a guesswork. This isn't what I think, what you think. Just know your numbers.
Physiology does not lie.
It does not lie. That is my quote.
That is.
So let's go over the benefits of being a distributor, Laura, because there's multiple benefits. Yep. But I think it's important that they know what they is. Why should they work with us instead of go try to recreate this on their own? Okay, first thing, guys, is on the program, when you become a distributor, you're going to get a password protected access to this site. It's called 8WW for Doctors. We've set it up in modules, and if you take a look at some of the modules, we have the implementation module. How do you implement this into your practice? We have the lab module. We have your day 1 module. We have the 8WW orientation, where you'll find the actual orientation and training videos on how to give it. There's a corporate wellness module. There's the exercise modules of exactly what needs to be done. Scripted videos on everything. So if you click on any one of these modules, like if you look here at module D, if you just look in this area here, if you click on that, what you're going to then be is opened up into a section that's going to give you all of these resources. So each one of these modules has individual downloadable resources, PowerPoints, training videos. I mean, we just provide so much
everything you
resource.
could possibly want.
Okay. The other thing is in module B, which is this module here, we've set up an electronic training plan, right? So it's a digital training plan where you come in, we coach with you once a week to make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do, just like patients need accountability, doctors need accountability too, to make sure that they're moving from point A to point B. So we've set that up where every week, okay, each module is meant to be done week by week. So module 1 you'll see is the expectations and going over the wellness score. Module 2 is we're going to go through the manual, the lab work, your office design and fitness center. So you watch the video, and then it's going to ask you to complete some tasks. And once you see the tasks are completed, you can move on to the next module, and it's meant to be done week by week. And we can see exactly where your progress is. So when I get on the phone with you, I want to make sure that you're doing those things that you need to get done.
Let me just back up. So the implementation as a whole, it's going to take you 8 to 10 weeks total to implement this program into your office. You're going to have a call once a week, personal call with Dr. Dane every week, and as well as support 24 hours a day from myself and the other 8WW staff members.
Yep, and we also have a group coaching call we do once a week, Laura, on really relevant topics. So we do a call with all of our docs in a webinar format. So they get access to that group coaching call, and that's Thursdays at 1 p.m. We also have a private Facebook page, guys, and it's awesome because now that we have over 80 centers, there's constantly clinical questions, marketing questions, all kinds of questions, and you can get feedback from your peers that are running this. So we constantly are posting and having distributors post to the Facebook page, and it's just a great resource.
Right. And by the way, we've got about 80 doctors now across the world. So you can post any questions, any share. You've got access to probably 8 of the top chiropractors in the U.S.
No doubt. And that's a great point, Laura, because, you know, guys, we have distributors who all have different specialties. Like we have one she's a master at lab work. We have one who's a master marketer, gets 125 new patients a month. So we've brought on people here, guys, that have specialties and they're more than willing to share. That's the great thing about these
It's
doctors.
sharing best practices, and I mean multiple times a day. So yeah.
It's awesome. We also set up a 8 Weeks to Wellness online challenge. So this can be done either in your office, we call it 8 Weeks to Wellness Light, or it could be done in a corporate setting where you can enroll 10, 20, 30 employees into a program. And basically, there's a password protected site. They go in, they're going to watch modules on moving better, eating better, thinking better. So each week they're going to go through a move better section, a think better, and they can actually do this in concert with the 8 Weeks to Wellness people that are going through their program. It's just additional support. So if you look here at week 1, if they were to click into move better, right, it's going to bring up a video. And then it's going to bring up downloadable workouts, right? So in the video, we're going to explain the workouts and explain one aspect of moving better. So they would do move better, and then they would do an eat better, which are generally recipes we give them for that week, a couple recipes we want them to try, get them back in their kitchens. And then the think better is the meditation. So it's very easy. And at the end of the week, they answer a quiz, and then it releases the next week of the program. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's a great thing to do when you're doing corporate talks and want to enroll a large number of people into the program.
So this is the coaching calls that we do weekly, guys. We do it in webinar format. As you can see here, we have 73 people on there on a regular basis that are going through our weekly coaching call format. One thing, Laura, I just want to do is just to back out and go into 8ww.com. I'm actually going to go into my website. There we go. So this is my website for my office. And what you'll see here, Laura, if you go to wellness programs, you'll see 8 Weeks to Wellness. So what we recommend is that doctors retain their own brand, their own name, if you will, but they're going to add 8 Weeks to Wellness to it. And so we're wellness solution centers. And you can see we offer a lot of services, chiropractic, massage, but our Cadillac program is 8 Weeks to Wellness. So if people go in here and click on it, then they can get taken to a page where there's 8 Weeks to Wellness information, right? And so we give them a ton of information, some videos, some of the more common changes that they're going to see in 8 weeks. What will they see? There's some videos in here. And then there's this button here. If they click on this, we have an actual branded site for 8WW. It's 8ww.com. And so we would recommend, and as part of your package, your distributorship, this is already done. So you would link the logo on your website so people can come to this site. And the cool thing is they get to look at the locations. Like these are all the locations of centers that we have. So they could come on here if they're doing research and find you. We also have testimonials that get uploaded on a regular basis. So these are all different people from around the country that have done the program, which I think is just awesome. And you can read their stories. Like if you wanted to go in here and read more on Valerie, you can find out what her stats were, what her testimonial was. And again, just look at that picture, Laura.
Yeah,
who looks healthier and happier,
Yeah.
Just absolutely amazing, guys. Some of the other resources, we have a resource page here with downloadable meditations and recipes and all kinds of things. It's password protected. So to get in here, you need a password that's given to you by your 8 Weeks to Wellness Center. So just some cool stuff, and you would just link that back to your homepage.
Right. So this is, again, just to recap what Dr. Dane said, this is available to all of our 8WW doctors. They automatically are linked to this website.
Cool. So let's go back here. And from current slide. All right, cool. So you get that. The other thing is people reach out to us through the 8WW on a regular basis. And Laura, you'll see that when they fill out a contact form, it goes to Laura, and then Laura will then refer that person to the closest 8 Weeks to Wellness Center. We also have a corporate lab account. So let me just talk about this for a second. You don't have to worry about your labs where you get them done. We have a corporate account set up with LabCorp, which is the largest lab in the country. So we have a corporate account that any of our doctors can use LabCorp, and we have a scripted program. So you get requisite forms, and you'll send the patient. They'll know exactly what to do, what labs to run, and then they'll send you the results, and you'll incorporate it into your wellness score.
And again, we hold your hand through this. We show you how to set up the account. It's very, very simple, and it's very cost effective for you and the patient.
And if you don't have a LabCorp near you guys, we'll show you how to set it up with the local lab. It's super, super simple. As we said, we have a ton of centers now, and you get the support. We recommend that you reach out to a couple people who will provide resources. For me, when I was, starting this, I wanted to know if I was going to invest in something, did it work? And the best way to ask is ask other people. Obviously, Laura and I are pretty biased about this, but talk to some of the other distributors and find out what their experience has been, both financially and clinically in terms of their practice. We've created, we work with Metagenics. We've created an 8 Weeks to Wellness line of products based on the lab work. So we're going to teach you that if somebody's cholesterol is high, this is what you're going to do. If they're a diabetic, this is what you're going to do. There's 2 products on the program that are standard for everybody. That's the Ultra Meal Replacement and the Ultra Potent Fish Oil, right? So they're going to minimally get that. But again, if their vitamin D is low, you're going to give them D3. If they're a diabetic, you may give them a couple things to help them with insulin regulation. So we have all of this scripted out, guys. You don't have to go out and find. Metagenics is one of the premier supplement companies in the world. And Laura, probably a good place to talk about, we want, consistency. We need reproducible results. I always, people have somebody say, hey doc, do you have a 8-week wellness center in Tampa, or do you have one out in the Midwest in Chicago because my brother or my mother wants to do the program? Well, if I'm using Metagenics and I send to another distributor who's using standard process, it's just going to create confusion. So we've created this. It's standard. You can use any supplements you want, except on the program you have to use the Ultra Meal and the fish oil. Okay. We give you guys tons of resources. We have all of these awesome marketing resources, Laura, that can be edited for your office. So if you wanted to do a TV commercial, if you want to do print media ads, you don't have to go out and hire a graphic designer. These are already done and tried and tested too.
We've spent hundreds and thousands of dollars on all of these, and they're all yours to use.
Okay. And then twice a year, guys, we do a 2-day intensive where we do one at our office. I love the one in our office, Laura, because people bring their trainers, and my trainers work with their trainers, and their CAs, my CAs work with their CAs. So it really is, and we should have probably put some of the, some of the testimonials we get from the docs. But if you want to come to something, guys, that's really inspiring, it's going to teach you, and it's going to have you meet with other people that have the same vision and mission that you do. You'll definitely want to be at these 2-day trainings. We're doing one at Disney World.
Yep.
As you said the other day, come spend your days
with. People bring their staff,
it's
and
awesome.
It's tremendous.
Okay, so Laura, what I wanted to do is I wrote down, and you wrote down some frequently asked questions that we get about the program, and some of these doctors may be thinking about this. So let's go over this. So first of all, what's the return on investment? Well, first of all, let's go over what the investment is. The cost of the distributorship, guys, it's a year commitment. Okay, so it's not a long-term commitment, but we want you to be with us for a year to help get you coached up and get you from where you are now to getting this program up and off the ground and running in your office. It's $795 a month. There's a $2,000 deposit to get you started. So it's $2,009 down $795 a month. Now, what's the return on investment? Well, I always like to talk about the $1 million practice formula, because I have a $1 million practice, and I have for probably close to 10 years. And some years we've collected over $2 million, right? So the formula is this, Laura. If you're seeing 28 new patients a month, which is completely doable, if you're seeing them for an average of 50 office visits throughout their life as a patient, and if you're collecting on average of $60 per patient visit, okay, and the way you figure that out is you take your total collections, and this is where I feel most people are missing the mark when I talk to them, Laura. They're doing great with new patients. They do great with their PVA. But what they're collecting per patient visit is low. And if you want to know what that is, guys, you simply take your total collections and divide it by your total office visits for the month. Okay? And if it's not over 60, it should be, because I'm finding most offices need to see 2 new patients for every one of my new patients because of what we're collecting per patient visit. Okay?
Agreed.
So we are going to teach you, and Laura, we've had many practices. I would dare say, and I'll throw this out there because I believe it's true, we probably have more $1 million practices in our group percentage-wise than any other coaching group out there.
And that's post-joining 8WW.
Right. And I just got off the phone, guys, just to give you an example. And he always says people are more than welcome to reach out to him. But there's a guy in Midtown Manhattan in 1,500 square feet, Laura, 1,500 square feet. When he started with us a little over a year ago, he was collecting about $50,000. Didn't have an associate, couldn't take a vacation.
Didn't have a fitness center, right?
Yeah.
Just a tiny office that he did adjustments. That was it.
And he last month collected $125,000. He's got a full-time associate. His profit margin last month was $55,000. That's what he put in his pocket. So he collected $125,000, put $55,000 in his pocket, and that was more than he was collecting in total when he started with us.
Right. So let's break this down. So this is homework for you to figure out what yours is. Right. So he looks at 200 visits, right? 200 patients a week now. This is post 8WW.
Yep.
Right? He added a tiny fitness center in his 1,500 square foot office, added a couple of massage people, right?
And he was only seeing 150 when he started with us.
Right.
So he increased 50 visits, but his return.
So his collections are $125,000, right, a month.
Correct.
You divide that by the total number of patients he sees a month, which is 800.
Right.
That comes out to $156 per patient visit.
Correct.
Right. So you do your homework and see what you're getting.
And then you'll see what you get per visit. So you'll have to see how many visits you have to see. So for example, let's say that yours is $40 or $50. You've got to see 3 patients for every one of Dr. Cohen's. Okay. And guys, I don't know about you, but I want to work smarter, not harder. I mean, after 24 years of being a chiropractor, guys, I want to get paid well. And what I can tell you with absolute certainty is people will pay you out of pocket if you show them value. Matter of fact, my friend Brad always says in the absence of value, cost is the only deciding factor.
Absolutely.
So you increase value, you deserve to get paid more money.
Let me just add one other quick thing here, and I would say this is on average the last 10 orientations. So when in 8 to 10 weeks you implement the program, you do a kickoff orientation. Dr. Dane comes down and does that for you. Typically, I would say in the last 10 that you've done, you will get whatever you spent on your first year times 2 just on that first night of your orientation. The patients that you close into that program that evening will pay for your first couple of years of distributorship.
So just let's give
in one night,
examples.
By the way,
right.
1 hour.
Went down to Dallas a couple weeks ago. We did a kickoff orientation. We signed up 20 people into the program. Right. At $2,700. Right. Okay, so 27. That's over $50,000 collected in one night, and that's just from 8 weeks. That's right. Not the money that they're going to continue to pay after 8 weeks. Correct. Okay, so it more than pays for your investment, and that's part of the distributorship. We didn't mention that, Laura, but part of the distributorship package is that I'm going to do your first kickoff orientation, right? So that's a huge value because all you pay for is my travel costs. Okay, and we do your kickoff orientation. We'll make your return on investment back that night, I promise. Okay, another common question, Laura, do I need a fitness center? And while you don't need a fitness center, what we're going to do is show you how to take your space and put one in there. I started 8 Weeks to Wellness over 12 years ago, Laura, literally in a closet in my office. I had an oversized closet, and I wanted to do this model. And we reconfigured. I could get 2 people in there to train with my trainer. It was L-shaped. You had to walk sideways because you couldn't fit by somebody. But it worked. And you know what? I grew. And as I grew, I expanded it. And now I have a fitness center that's over 2,000 square feet. And we train over 250 people a week in my practice, just training.
Right.
Okay. So while you don't need a fitness center, it is ideal, and you don't need a lot of space. You don't need a lot of space. You don't need a lot of equipment. You do need a trainer, and we're going to teach you how to hire that person, how to start them off part-time so it's not a huge expense, and how to get that person busy.
It's a functional fitness model that is very specific to 8 Weeks to Wellness. It involves one trainer. Your trainer, Noah, trained in one day? Was it 65 people?
Yeah, so he normally trains about 50 people in a day, and right. Our model is not a one-on-one model, so we show you that how your trainer should be averaging 3 trainings per hour, okay, minimum. You know, my trainer, top trainer, who really is a stud, he can train up to 10, 12 people in an hour, no problem. Okay, and we get paid $45 for every training session. So think about that, Laura. If he trains 10 people in an hour, that's $450. Tell me one person that's going to go and pay $450. So your return on investment, again, is working smarter, not harder.
Absolutely, and we're going to show you how to do all of that.
Startup cost, guys, the biggest startup cost for you is going to be your fitness center. So that's purchasing some equipment. You don't need a lot of equipment, TRX, dumbbells, kettlebells, some foam rollers, your space to build out the center.
Very minimal startup cost for the fitness center.
Yep. So it's really no more than $10,000 for the fitness center, guys. But again, think about the return on investment that you'll have once you get this up and running. Okay. Staffing, most people don't need much. Most people have a massage therapist on staff, so all you would need is a part-time trainer to start off with. So, we're not talking about adding a lot of staff. You're going to use your current CAs. You're going to use a current massage therapist or hire a massage therapist. But again, remember the model with massage. They only get paid when they're producing. You don't pay them for downtime. Same thing with your trainers. We're going to show you the model, how to pay them only when you're getting paid, right? So if somebody pays me $45 and I pay the trainer $15, well, guess what? I still have $30 in my hand, don't I? So I don't mind paying somebody as long as they're producing revenue for my business.
Absolutely.
Okay. We already talked about this. Do I need to use a specific supplement company? Yes. It's Metagenics. We have the co-branded products that we showed them. And again, guys, these are absolutely, I feel, some of the best high quality supplements. They're triple GMP certified, which means they have 3 different companies that will assess their products to make sure that whatever they claim on their label is pure and in that bottle. Okay. Are there any ongoing fees? The only ongoing fee, Laura, everything's included, is for the wellness kit. So when a patient starts the program, guys, they're going to get a wellness kit, and that wellness kit is going to have their manual in it. It's going to have a bunch of stuff that we use for the program, heart rate monitor, a polar heart rate monitor, and those kits that you purchase from us are $99, but that's resold to the patient as part of the program.
Right, I always say it's not really an expense because you're really passing the expense along to your patient, but we do like to let you know that you do have to purchase those up front.
Yeah, so you
Yep.
and again, just the polar heart rate monitor is $99,
Right.
Laura, and because we buy in volume, we get a
Right.
huge discount. So it's got a beautiful manual, the blender bottle. I mean, it's got a bunch of stuff, and they pass that cost. They're going to mark that up and pass it off to their patients. Okay, so let's finish up with this. Why do I want to invest my time, money, and effort when I'm doing fine with my chiropractic practice? You know, a lot of people say,
Get that question all the time.
all the time, and I think it's a very valid question. And I have to tell you, Laura, I have to share why I did it. I love chiropractic. I absolutely am in love with this profession. I always say I have two love affairs. One's with my wife and one's with chiropractic. And I wanted to do more for my patients. I saw that people were getting chiropractic care. And as one of my distributors said, I was changing lives, but I wasn't saving lives. Right?
Absolutely.
I was changing people's lives with chiropractic, but I don't feel like I was saving their lives. And I got into chiropractic to save lives, not just to change lives. So I think the one reason you should do it is because you should save people's lives. And we know this program saves lives. There's no doubt in my mind, right? We're saving people from an inevitable heart attack, an inevitable diagnosis of diabetes, breast cancer. I know we are by changing their lifestyle. But more importantly, Laura, I can tell you at this point in my life, I look at my lifestyle. You know, I look at the fact that I have 3 doctors in my office. I look at the fact that I only work 15 hours a week in my practice, but my practice is open 6 days a week. I didn't start off that way. I work my butt off, you know, but at this point in my life, I have anything I want at my disposal. I never think about money anymore because I got plenty of it, right? I have a lot of free time to spend with my family. You know, you and I work together on 8 Weeks to Wellness is a real passion of ours. So I think why you want to invest your time, money, and effort into this program is because you want to do better for your patients. And doing better, adding more value, saving more lives, guys, people will then pay you and refer to you, I promise. So it is, to me, the most rewarding way to practice. I always call it the doorknob test, and maybe we'll finish up on this. You know, I want you to do this next time you go into your practice. Just pause a minute when you grab the doorknob and ask yourself, do I want to be here? Is this a job for me? Or is this really something that I'm committed to? Because I used to practice when I practiced in a chiropractic. Sometimes, Laura, I have to, and I'm just being very transparent here, I'd have to take a deep breath before I went into the office because I don't know if I really wanted to be there. I was committed, you know, there's no doubt, and I would go and I would adjust my patients, but I didn't see that lives were changing dramatically. And now with this program, I mean, we see lives change dramatically all the time. So take the doorknob test, guys. Just ask yourself, is this something, the way you're practicing now, can you see yourself practicing this way for the next 20, 30, 40 years? Do you ever want to retire? I'm never going to retire from this because I'll always be doing it in some capacity to help people because it saves lives. And it's so neat. I always say, Laura, you know, your health touches everything in your life. It touches your relationships, your work, your hobbies. Everything in your life gets touched by your health. And so when you don't have it, everything is touched in a negative way. And when you have it and give it back to people, everything's touched in a positive way.
No doubt about it. At 8WW is meaningful not only to the patients that you're going to save, but also to yourself. It's going to increase the amount of time that you spend with your family. It's going to make your practice more financially lucrative, and you're going to really enjoy going to work every day and helping your patients.
Cool. So, Laura, if people have questions, we would love for them to get in touch with you.
Please do.
Here's your email. So, guys, reach out to Laura with any other. Hopefully, we answered most of your questions. But I'll just say in wrapping up, we would love to have you on this team. And don't worry about all the nitty gritty, guys. Trust me, we've done it for 80 centers. We can do it for your center too. Reach out and talk to some of the people that we've provided along with this video and get their experience as well. And you guys have just an awesome day.